Welcome back to True Stories Paranormal Survivor. I am super excited about today, not only because it is the weekend, but because the hauntings have already started for the day. And Eastern Time, it is only 10:08 a.m. Now, I had the opportunity to go to a studio this morning for a taping, and this particular place I had to go to because I have been drawn to this place. I have visited this studio, 1075 KZL in Greensboro, North Carolina. I had visited this place prior, before, and every time I have been in this studio, I was getting a lot of activity, a lot of energy, a lot of chatter. And my friends, if you have listened to my show or familiar with what I do, when this type of thing happens, I'm always wondering, what this is all about. And they will let you know if it's something that you need to look into. And so the last time I was there, or previous to the last time I was prior to the last time that I was there, excuse me, I was getting like a lot of messages, a lot of chatter, a lot of talking, and I'll try to explain this to you the way I did to them on the radio. So when I'm there, and there is a lot going on, so you have the DJs, you have everybody on the radio, and then you have some of the folks in the audience. So now you have a full room of people. And there are times when they're talking. There's, times when questions are being asked to those in the studio. So what I'm hearing is totally different. There's a totally different conversation that is going on. And as I explained to them, because a lot of people want to know, how do you hear it? Does it sound like me talking with you guys now? Not so much. Your voice comes through as a loud, clear voice that is talking to me. This is almost as if you guys are talking and you hear a whisper. Particularly if there is a male, for me, it comes in on the right side. And if there is a female, she comes in on the left side. Now, these folks do come through in their own voices. They come through in their own tones or their own personalities. And so that is what was going on today. And the biggest thing for me is that when I am drawn to a place, that is usually because there is somebody in the building. There is an attachment to that building. And so that requires a more in-depth investigation. And so that is why we are calling this show the Studio Hunting Part 1. Okay, this is just the Part 1. Because I am going back to the studio to do a more in-depth investigation of whomever it is who would like to connect. So while I was in the studio, my friends, and somebody wanted to have a conversation and they wanted to talk to the point of, while I was literally on the mic, they were making themselves known to the point of, if I did not connect and give the message, they were really going to take over. And if you listen to the Lady in the Room episode, you know what that could be like, okay? So I'm in the studio and I, am trying to have my time and talk about what I do and who I am. And I kept getting a sense of Mary. Now, before I had gotten on the radio, I was, sitting there, and I kept getting Mary, Mary, Mary. Now, before I even reached the studio, my friends, I already get a sense of a particular person, also a particular feeling. And so I'm kind of in tune, right? I'm already connecting. And I'm getting the sense of this Mary, this Mary, this Mary. So while I began to, start talking, and I'm on the radio live, Mary tends to show me jewelry. So I have to hold everybody up and say, I must give this message because Mary is here. Now, let me tell you how definite this was. Um, so I go to reach for my phone. I'm going to back up just a minute if you don't mind. I go to reach for my phone in my pocketbook. And typically with an EMF, you have to hit the button turning this thing on. No, I don't have to do that. I don't touch anything. EMF comes on and it is flaring well up to red. I mean, going and going. Yes, I probably am the only person in the world who just walks around with an EMF in our pocketbook. I mean, and it's going and going and going. So I hit the button so that I can turn it off, and I have to hit it twice. If you are familiar with these type of devices, you do not have to hit it twice, and it should not just be going on, like coming on and flickering. And so the young lady there who is on the radio, she's trying to remember, everybody in the room is trying to remember. And if you listen to my last podcast, it's really not up to me to convince you of to believe this, or what I'm saying. It's just, they need you to know that this is who they are, and then they'll tell you why. And they show that to me. And so they're trying to figure out who this is. And somebody had a mother-in-law, and unfortunately that's not it. And so I finally I'm done with my segment, and I sit down, and Mary's still chatting. She's still chatting, and she's now making the reference to the jewelry. And so the lady to the left of me, and she says, my stepmom, passed away, and her real name was Mary, and they went by something else, but we didn't get along. She didn't like me. We didn't get along, and so when she passed away, the father had given her all the jewelry, and there goes the reference, and that's her way of coming through and that sort of thing. And so, my friends, I really wanted to share this with you because even though on this side, you may not always get along with somebody, or you could have a relationship that has a ripple, or you could have maybe had a couple of arguments with a person before they passed or crossed over. Don't ever think that because you did not have a good relationship with them on this side, that on that side, that they don't try to make things right. And they know what they did, and they know that it is important for them to make it right for you, and for you on this side to understand that although things were the way they were, on this side, they do want to make it right on the other side, because it's not good for you to carry on, that pain. And that's why I love what I do, because sometimes I could bring closure and light to a situation and to a person on this side, because we tend to carry these heavy burdens and these harsh times that happened on this side. And sometimes we tend to wonder about those relationships when that person passes on, crosses over. And I thought it was so beautiful that this stepmother wanted to show herself to this person. And what was a little bit, almost, I want to say, a little bit challenging for this message is because this woman, when she realized what I did, she immediately was saying, I would love to hear from my mom. But Spirit has a way of showing themselves and doing what they do, because the real mom did not come through. And sometimes the real mom or the person that you're expecting to come through, and I really need to get this across, will step back and allow someone else to speak because this is something you need to hear. This is something that you need in your life. And that for me was a bit challenging because I had already sensed that it was her, the person that was sitting with me. I'd already sensed that it was her. The message was coming through for her, and that was the connection. But I still allow spirit to do what they do. I never like to do my own thing, because I always tell people it has nothing to do with me. I'm literally just a vessel. And so I want you to remember that. Even if you don't have a good relationship with somebody on this side, they do try to make it right. If they know it is something that they can heal or fix, they will try to make it right on the other side. And we'll talk more on tomorrow.